story based on Psalm 4 verse 8. In peace I will lie down. Have you ever felt like the weight of the day won't let you sleep? Like even with your eyes closed, your mind keeps spinning with worries? So, this story is for you. Today you'll meet Lucía, a woman who couldn't find sleep, trapped by fear, anxiety, and uncertainty. But everything changed one quiet night, when the words of an ancient psalm touched her heart and gifted her the peace she had been longing for. If you enjoy soul-healing stories that strengthen your faith, subscribe now and turn on the bell so you don't miss any of our hope-filled messages. This story will embrace your heart and maybe help you sleep peacefully tonight. In peace I will lie down and sleep, for you alone, O Lord, make me dwell in safety. Psalm 4 verse 8. Chapter 1. The Endless Night. Lucía was 67 years old. Ever since her husband passed away, sleep had become a battlefield. Each night was a war against memories, restless thoughts, and a silence louder than any noise. The darkness brought no rest, only tears. The clock read 3:12 a.m., just like every night. She always woke at the same hour, heart pounding, soul unsettled. She would get up, turn on a small table lamp, and sit by the window. She stared at the distant city lights and whispered to herself, "Why can't I sleep like I used to? Why won't this pain go away?" But that night would be different. That night, someone knocked on her door, and it wasn't just any visitor. Would you like to know who this mysterious visitor was and how they changed Lucía's life? Chapter 2. An Unexpected Visitor, Adapted Translation. Lucía heard 3 soft knocks on the door. She looked at the clock. 3:15 a.m. Who could it be at this hour? She wondered, her heart beating faster. She wrapped a robe over her nightgown and cautiously walked to the door. Peeking through the peephole, she saw no one. She hesitated for a moment, then slowly opened the door. There was no person at the threshold, only a small white envelope resting on the doormat. With trembling hands, Lucía picked it up. On the front, written in simple handwriting, were the words, "For you, do not be afraid." She returned to her armchair, the envelope still clutched in her hands. Carefully, she opened it. Inside was a folded sheet of paper with a verse she hadn't read since she was a child. "Open book, in peace I will lie down and sleep. For you alone, O Lord, make me dwell in safety." Psalm 4 verse 8. Lucía felt a shiver run through her. Who had left this message? How did they know she couldn't sleep? Was it a sign? For the first time in a long while, a soft calm settled over her chest, as if God himself had whispered to her heart. She closed her eyes and whispered quietly, "Lord, if that was you, help me trust. I'm tired. I want to sleep in peace." What will happen after that prayer? Was it just a message, or the beginning of a silent miracle? Chapter 3. The Interrupted Sleep, Adapted Translation. After reading the psalm once more, Lucía returned to bed. But this time, she didn't carry a heavy heart with her. Instead, she felt a curious peace warming her chest, like an invisible blanket wrapped around her soul. She gently placed the paper with the verse on her nightstand, right next to the photo of her late husband. He would have smiled reading this, she thought, softly brushing her fingers across the frame. For the first time in weeks, she closed her eyes without tears. The silence of the night was no longer frightening. It was peaceful, as if angels had sealed every corner of her home with rest. And then she dreamed. In her dream, Lucía walked along a glowing path. Tall trees stood around her. Flowers she had never seen bloomed gently, and a soft breeze whispered in her ear, "Trust. I am with you. Do not fear the night. I am your rest." Lucía paused. In front of her stood a man in a white robe, looking at her with deep tenderness. His eyes weren't like ordinary eyes. They were like fire that didn't burn, and water that calmed. And then he said, "I have seen your tears, and I have kept every one. From this night on, you will sleep in peace." Lucía awoke with a feeling she couldn't describe. The sun had not yet risen, but that didn't matter, because for the first time in so long, she had slept deeply. Who was that man in the dream? And what does this heavenly message truly mean? Chapter 4. The Dusty Bible, Adapted Translation. When Lucía woke up, she didn't rush like she usually did. She didn't turn on the radio, didn't reach for her coffee. Instead, she stayed in bed for a few quiet minutes, eyes still closed, savoring the peace that wrapped around her like an invisible cloak. Her thoughts kept returning to the dream, to the man in the white robe, to the whisper, "I am your rest." She looked at the sheet of paper on her nightstand, the one with Psalm 4 verse 8, and felt a pull in her heart, a desire she hadn't felt in decades. She got up and walked slowly to an old bookshelf in the living room. Tucked between forgotten books was a worn Bible, covered in dust. She blew on it, and a soft gray cloud lifted, like a small ghost from the past. "It's been so long since I opened you," she whispered, moved. The Bible fell open on its own, right to the book of Psalms. With trembling fingers, she found chapter 4. When she reached verse 8, she read it aloud, this time with faith. "Open book. In peace I will lie down and sleep. For you alone, O Lord, make me dwell in safety." Tears filled her eyes. Lucía finally understood. That peace didn't come from silence, not from pills, not from rituals. It came from trusting God, from letting go of what she couldn't control, and allowing Him to hold her, even in the dark. What will happen now that Lucía starts reading the Psalms each night? Will the mysterious visitor return? Don't miss the next chapter. Something miraculous is about to happen. Chapter 5. A Routine for the Soul, Adapted Translation. Since that morning, Lucía began a new habit, reading a psalm every night before going to sleep. No matter how her day had been, sad, lonely, or gray, she would take her Bible, sit by the window, and read aloud as if God Himself were listening from heaven. And every night, after closing her Bible, she would whisper, "In peace I will lie down for you. Lord, make me dwell in safety." And then, she slept. She no longer woke up at 3:12 a.m. She no longer feared the darkness. She no longer cried under the covers. Peace wasn't the absence of problems. It was the presence of God. One day, while sorting through an old box of memories, Lucía found a letter written by her late husband years ago. It read, "When you feel alone, read the Psalms. They are the language of the soul when the heart doesn't know what to say. God always listens." Lucía smiled through her tears. "You already knew what I needed," she whispered to the sky. It was as if everything was connected. The mysterious envelope, the dream, and now this letter, all pieces of the same divine message of love. God hadn't forgotten her. He never did. But now, what will Lucía do with all she has received? Will she keep this treasure to herself, or share it with others? Join her in the next chapter. Her story is far from over. Chapter 6. The Unexpected Gift, Adapted Translation. One afternoon, as Lucía left the market with her grocery bags, she noticed a woman sitting alone on a bench. Her eyes were red from crying, and her gaze was distant. She wore a scarf on her head and clutched a crumpled prescription in her hand. Lucía felt that familiar stirring in her heart. It wasn't a voice. It was a certainty. "Go to her. Are you all right, dear?" Lucía asked gently. The woman tried to smile, but her expression cracked. I'm just tired. I haven't been able to sleep since they gave me the diagnosis. I feel so alone. Lucía sat beside her. She didn't offer advice. She simply reached into her bag, pulled out a small notebook, and tore out a page where she had written her favorite verse. She handed it over with a warm smile. "Read this tonight," she said tenderly. "Someone left it at my door once, and it changed my nights." Through her tears, the woman read, "In peace I will lie down and sleep. For you alone, O Lord, make me dwell in safety." Psalm 4 verse 8. Lucía gently took her hands and prayed with her, as if they had known each other forever. From that day on, Lucía began writing verses on small slips of paper. She folded each one carefully and left them in parks, mailboxes, even tucked between books at the local library. She never signed them. She just passed on what had once been given to her, a word that brings peace. Can a single verse change someone's life? What else might God have planned for Lucía? Don't miss the next chapter. The most beautiful part is yet to come. Chapter 7. When We Sow Peace, adapted translation. As the days went by, Lucía became, without meaning to, a messenger of comfort. People in the neighborhood began whispering about the mysterious little notes with Bible verses that appeared just when they needed them most. A single mother found one in her child's backpack. A young man battling anxiety discovered one on a bus seat. A widowed elder pulled one from his mailbox, right when he was thinking of giving up. No one knew where they came from, but everyone felt the same when they read them. Peace. Lucía never took credit. She would simply say, "It wasn't me. It was God. I just planted the same seed that once helped me bloom." And so, the woman who once couldn't sleep, who cried quietly through the night, became a source of rest for many. One night, as she got ready for bed, she opened her window. The sky was blanketed with stars. She took a deep breath, reached for her Bible, and held it close like something beloved. "Thank you, Lord," she whispered. "Thank you for showing me that, even in this quiet house, I'm never truly alone when I'm with you." She closed her eyes, whispered Psalm 4 verse 8 with a soft smile, and fell asleep. No fear, no worry, just peace. Final chapter. Sleeping, knowing God keeps watch, adapted translation. Years passed. Lucía lived a quiet life, not with riches or luxury, but with something far more valuable. A soul soaked in peace. She didn't have many visitors or social media or a giant screen on the wall, but she had something most people long for, a calm heart and a mind at rest. One afternoon, the youngest neighbor on the block, a girl who had once received Lucía's folded verses, without ever knowing where they came from, knocked on her door. She held a box full of worn paper slips and a Bible, with a dried flower pressed between the pages. "Can I sit with you?" she asked, her voice trembling. "I want to learn how to sleep like you do, with such a light heart." Lucía smiled, welcomed her in, and poured some tea. She didn't need to explain much. She simply opened to Psalm 4 again. Read it aloud, and let the presence of God do what it had always done in her life. Bring rest to the weary. That night, it wasn't just Lucía who slept in peace. Her young neighbor did too, and maybe many others, souls who didn't even know they were being reached by a simple, powerful truth. "In peace I will lie down and sleep. For you alone, O Lord, make me dwell in safety." Psalm 4 verse 8. Lucía left this world one early morning, without pain, wrapped in a holy silence. When her Bible was found, it was open to that same verse. Tucked inside was a handwritten note. "If you ever can't sleep, don't reach for another pill. Reach for this verse. Read it out loud. and let God sing you to sleep. The end. If this story touched your heart, subscribe and click the bell icon to receive more faith-filled stories, especially for those nights when your soul needs comfort. You are not alone. God watches over you. Even in your darkest night, He gives you rest.